Hi, welcome back to the Sandboy Saga. I'm Luke and this is Chapter 4, Splat Boys. Now I wanted to make atoms do some more interesting things, but there was a bit of a problem. Code for what an element does was getting really messy. This is the code for water. Now I was writing it kind of sloppily because I kept adding stuff without thinking about it, but even so I thought it would be simpler to do it in a different way. I was really inspired by SPLAT, which is a programming language by Dave Ackley. And it's an acronym, but the key thing for me was the S for spatial, because you kind of draw a picture of how the different atoms are arranged in space. Let me show you. This @ sign means a sand atom in this example. And let's imagine that below it, this underscore means there's an empty space. So if there's an empty space below a sand atom, it changes, it turns into this. The sand atom has moved down to where the empty space was, leaving an empty space behind. And here it is. Here's the example I showed you just now. If there's an empty space below the atom, it moves down. But it's not quite like how we want it yet, because it doesn't slide off to the side. It needs to pile up into a bit of a sand castle. So let's give it a second rule. Here's another rule for it. If there is a solid atom underneath the sand, so that's what the S means, and some space to the side, it slides down into the side, leaving an empty space behind it. And this is what that looks like. Falls down and piles up nice and high. Solid. So let's look at some other examples. I've just made as much as I could with these new rules. So this is a fork bomb. If it's next to an empty space, then it fills it with another fork bomb and it just keeps copying and copying itself. I've shown you these before, but this one was just the first one using these splat-like rules. So what about water? We need our water, don't we? It falls down just like sand. But if there's an atom below it, then it moves to the side, kind of slides across the surface, falling down and then sliding around. Can you guess what this one will do? If there's an empty space to the side, what does it do? It does this. If there's an empty space to the side, it just moves into it. And it kind of diffuses around the air. So far, everything that's been up or down has been locked, but everything to the side has been picked randomly. So this is kind of a fork bomb that just goes down. This is what happens if you just make a fork bomb go down. Kind of makes a neat little wall. But that wasn't how it needed to be. I needed it to be able to randomly pick any direction. So here's some sand that randomly chooses to fall up or down. And I fixed it, and I found that with a few tweaks and options, I could actually quite easily make 2D stuff too, which I never really thought about up until this point. Here's some nice 2D sand for you. The nice thing was that it interacted with all the 3D stuff too. So you could kind of make it pour over little floating blocks of sand. And obviously the same thing applied with water, except this one falls down a lot more nicely. You can make little, I don't know, log flumes for it. Is that the word? Water flumes. That's the one. And I made a few more things, just playing around with all these different rules. Here's a plant that when you pour water on it, sort of grows into the water. Weird looking plant. And I made some dust that randomly moves to the side as if it's getting blown by the wind. So yeah, I like these splat-like rules. They make it easier to make stuff and they're quite fun. So I made a new programming language to help write them. Join me next week where I show you that. Thanks for watching.